The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. The Department of Defense is working with Google to help secure America's digital defense systems, from establishing cloud-based zero-trust solutions to deploying the latest AI technology. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I've done a lot of things wrong, and I know it. Self-inflicted wounds are the worst. The Pittsburgh Pirates this weekend had a self-inflicted wound, the likes of which you don't see happen in sports very often. We're talking about Roberto Clemente. We're talking about the nightmare of having to do two statements, not one, two statements to explain the idiocy of honoring Roberto Clemente with an outfield wall plaque, removing it, putting a sponsor instead, and not telling the Clemente family. So many layers to this. Let me start with the most interesting one to me. The Clemente family is high maintenance. You know that going in. They need communication. They need understanding. They want to be front and center. They deserve to be because of Roberto Clemente, but you got to know your customer. If you're the Pirates, you can't do something regarding Roberto Clemente without telling Roberto Clemente's family. And they violate it right off the top.
So it was moved. It was moved, right? It wasn't completely replaced. It was moved.
Taken down.
That's the dumbest thing ever. That's terrible.
They still have a statue. They have other ways that they've honored him.
They have a ton of ways.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change. And what the president of the team tried to say was, hey, listen, totally sorry, but we have a 21-foot wall. We've got so many things that we've done for Roberto.
A bridge.
A bridge. It's a really cool bridge.
But the number's retired. The number needs to be there. Straight up.
Well, there's different places the 21 is. This was an extra thing that was put because there was an available space, but they forgot to just be honest with the family and say, hey, we're giving you a little extra. We're just putting it right there, but we're trying to sell it. And once we do, we're removing it. They didn't communicate. And then they sent out their PR head to do a statement Saturday, doubling down. And then they sent out their president Sunday, saying, sorry, our bad, my mistake. He wore it. I had to wear so much as team president, so much that I had nothing to do with that I would just wear.
What was the worst one that was like akin to something like this? Because this is about as bad as it gets, right? Like you're disrespecting not only a legend of the Pirates, but a legend of baseball that is celebrated across the league, and you're coming off the heels of what just happened with the government website and Jackie Robinson, and so everyone is feeling the effects of like history of our great players of color being erased. There's all of it. Is there anything that you ever dealt with that was even close to what this type of ire that you're sort of going out in front and taking the heat on?
Certainly got ire, Jeremy. I would say that what we did with Carl Barger and unretiring his number, we didn't do that probably the way we should have. And I had to take that even though I had nothing to do with it. But I had to wear that one. That's
even though
job,
it wasn't your decision to make.
No, it was not. Listen, that's your job. When you run a company for an owner or for a founder, you're the meat shield. You have to take stuff that you don't deserve to take, but you do it, you smile, and you say it's your fault. Trevor Williams, the president of the Pirates, he had to take this. But to me, what bothers me about what happened is that he was in that position to start with. When you're a president of a team, you know exactly what your inventory is, your sales inventory. You know exactly what you're doing. When you're doing a deal with Surfside, that deal doesn't get done without the president signing the deal.
And so what upsets you is that he made that decision and didn't communicate it to the Clementes, right?
I'm perfectly fine with the decision to sell because everyone wants the
so
Pirates
long as
to
you
raise
communicate
revenue.
with the family that you
just communicate.
worked with.
It's one call. And by the way, the Clemente family, Easy to reach. It's not like reaching someone who's disappeared into the Netherlands without cell service.
And that was part of the Clemente's statement, by the way, was that basically their frustration wasn't even the decision, which I think we should be frustrated by the decision. You know, you make a decision to honor a player, even if there are other ways that you've honored the player around a ballpark. You've honored him in this public way that everyone can see when a ball is hit down that right field line, and now you're removing it to sell and make more money when you're, a franchise in the Pirates that we know their fans are frustrated with them to begin with. But the statement from the Clementes included the specific nature of the Pirates continue to do these things, not only without consulting us, but without sort of consulting their fan base at large.
Well, a couple things. The statement is on the screen if you're watching this live on YouTube. If you're listening, we have a statement from the Clemente family. So I don't agree. The fan base at large is not a factor for me. I don't need to go to the fan base when I'm doing things like this. I need to go to the family, and I don't need to do it publicly. I can do it privately because then I've got the ability to say publicly, hey, I did that. It's a very much check the box thing. The Clemente family is a very big check the box family.
If you were wanting to make this decision, though, right? And the Clemente family had an issue with it, then what? How does that conversation go for you in that spot as the president of the team, right? Like, Are you actually going for a conversation where you're actually caring what they have to say, or is it just checking the box?
It's just checking the box.
Well, why don't you give the Clementes the opportunity to match what Surfside was going to pay to continue to honor their father in that one spot?
They wouldn't. They couldn't. Totally. That's very nice. That's nice. We'd like to give you the right to match. We've sold the behind the plate. We would do this if you have open inventory and you don't want to make it look like there's open inventory. So let's today behind plate signage. There are approximately 18 units to be sold each baseball game. Half an inning. You buy half an inning behind the plate. You have a rate card. You sell it. But what if you have 3 half innings that aren't sold? You go to your existing partners and you say, hey, we're gonna throw you an extra half inning. We love you. We're not going to charge you more. But once we sell it, we're taking back that half inning.
Thank you for your business type deal.
That's it. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. So this Clemente thing, this one area on the wall was just hey, we got nothing else there. We're trying to have something there. But the problem is they chose to do it with a family that is very, very much a keep score family.
But even if they weren't a keep score family, this would be a problem, I would think, for any franchise, given the value of the specifics of the player. If someone's pointing it out on social media and there's a conversation that happens, you think that essentially this goes totally unnoticed if you don't have a family that's actively participating in that legacy?
Let's face it, what brought this to a bubble was the Clemente statement, but then the Pirates dealt with it so badly. The Clementes do this. It's known around baseball. Like, there's certain families, there's certain people from the history of the game who are higher maintenance than others. Roberto Clemente is one of arguably the second greatest story of any baseball player ever behind Jackie Robinson. I would say that's 1, 2.
Right.
And I think that's a fair assessment of it. And the Clementes are celebrated. The family is brought to events. Baseball pays for them to go to events. There's a whole level of support that is deserving. But the family of other superstars do not necessarily get that support. But you got to know your customer. And that's what the Pirates, to me, did the most wrong, is they forgot. It's a simple phone call. It's Williams calling the family, and you never, with the Clementes, you don't have an account executive do it. You go, it's the top. You have to know there's certain people who can be contacted by lower level people and certain people where they have to hear from the owner. And you just have to know it. And so it just bothered me what the Pirates did, because the Pirates are getting a bunch of crap over their payroll, over their lack of revenue, and the fact that they don't win. And now it just makes it worse.
Who's the highest maintenance family that you've had to deal with?
The highest maintenance family that I personally had to deal with. The Alis were actually great. There was a lot to do. When you say high maintenance, I think pejorative, don't you?
You've said they're kind of annoying to deal with, basically.
Yes.
So who, I guess, is the most annoying? Because, this sounds terrible, but The more I'm looking at this, the more I'm kind of like, there's still a lot of ways Roberto Clemente is honored in this stadium. In fact, there's a number 21 about 5 feet away from the ad that replaced the other 21. Like, there's 21s everywhere here.
It's everywhere. If you've been to PNC Park, you can't turn around without having Roberto Clemente as part of the conversation.
It's not like they erased his legacy. They sold an ad on one of the many places that they put his name and number.
You're very right, and I think that is important to sort of distinguish from the conversation we were having a couple of weeks ago and this one when I just brought up the Jackie Robinson thing, because those are two very, very, very different conversations that we're having. This is not completely erasing Roberto Clemente's legacy at behest of some governmental intervention. This is a totally different thing. At the same time, I do think people have a right to be frustrated by, hey, here's this thing. We're already a franchise and a fan base that's frustrated, right, in a general sense. Then we've got this history, this pillar of not just a player, but a person that we all admire, that's celebrated in this specific way. And now, so that the owner, who we're already frustrated with for not spending money, can make an extra quick buck, we're going to eliminate this thing that is a very public display of our love for our franchise's most beloved person. I think people have a right to be frustrated by that. I understand your perspective, David, which is your frustration stems most from how could the president have handled this differently and in a way that wouldn't have caused such a stink for baseball, for his team.
It's embarrassing.
But for a fan perspective, for someone who is a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, their frustration is a different one, which is really like, that's how we're going to go ahead and erase something that matters to all of us, even if it's one of several different public displays. One of the public displays of our love of our hero is now going away so that we could sell it for some seltzer.
Are you sure about that, Jeremy? Because if the Pirates right now were 9-2 and the Dodgers with a high payroll, would this have happened? Or is it the fact that the Pirates are
the fan?
It's a matter of all of it.
The fans hate this ownership group,
right?
Separate from this thing, so they are never going to give them the benefit. 100%. Of the doubt. If you walk around in Pittsburgh, you will see shirts that say "Sell the team, Bob Nutting."
So that's the whole thing, that you can't give a fan base a reason. They're going to find their own reasons if the team doesn't perform, if you're not signing players who fans want you to sign. But that's why I called it a self-inflicted injury.
That's right.
And you have to avoid those if you're in a position the way the Marlins are and were, the way the Pirates are. You've got to avoid self-inflicted injuries.
Well, I wonder if for the Pirates and sort of sticking within that theme, we saw some contract extensions in Major League Baseball like over the last week that I found really interesting. Not just Vlad Guerrero, who signs this mammoth deal that we could get into, but it's some of the other guys, right? It's and I forget the name of the player who just signed with the Red Sox.
Campbell?
Yes, Campbell, who signed an 8-year, $60 million deal. You see Jackson
with as
Merrill.
Much experience that you have.
Right. I mean, he's barely played at the Major League level. There's Jackson Merrill, who just signed a massive deal in San Diego. A different conversation than you're having because he at least had a full year of Major League Baseball. But I'm really intrigued by those types of deals for markets like Pittsburgh, like theoretically Miami in the future. We saw Tampa do a little bit of this at different points in their run.
Started
which
with
is,
Evan Longoria.
Right. He's the first one I can ever remember as one of these
John Singleton
contracts.
was first.
Wow. Okay. That's a throwback of a name.
Well, by the way, he stunk.
Yeah.
It was a complete waste of money.
But so that's the question I guess I have, which is we've seen a few franchises here recently in the Padres and the Red Sox, two teams that think they're good and should be for the foreseeable future, but teams locking up young stars and buying them out of arbitration. Do you think that that's like a trend that you're going to see more of, or is this just sort of a conglomeration of circumstances that led to all of these individual guys being signed at this time?
I want to educate everyone on this because it is one of the biggest mistakes that people in media make, and Jeremy, you are now never going to make it again. Those players are all signed players.
Correct.
So when you read that, Campbell,
extended.
So interesting. What it's guaranteed cost certainty. When you sign a player through arbitration, that's all you're doing. Is you are taking arbitration out of the zeitgeist of that player's career, and that player is getting money, but he's signed. Every time you have a player who's a rookie, you have him on a 6-year contract.
Right.
You just don't know what it's worth, but you have him on 6 years. When you give money up front and guarantee it, you ask for free agent years. And it used to be that you would get free agent years at a discount when you sign these contracts to young players. That's now gone away. Players don't give the discount anymore. They want the guarantee of arbitration years, and they want free agency at a number where they have to perform at a high level all the way through pre-free agency and then be in the open market healthy. It's insane.
So I guess my question would be, for example, with Campbell, right? He's come up, he's performed, he signs this 8-year, $60 million, but the 8-year, $60 million deal. What you're saying is the 8 years, he was already supposed to be under contract for 6. You're now guaranteeing exactly what the money is going to be in that stretch for a player who otherwise, if they didn't perform, might not reach the salary level that they're going to reach in those 6 years. And so it's 6 plus an extra 2 seasons on top of that, and then he could be a free agent.
That's exactly right.
Right.
And so what the player is trading is those 2 years of free agency to lock up what they have now. Mm-hmm. And I can go down the list of players who have signed these deals, and it's been a disaster for the team. We can go all the way to Kingery of Philadelphia. We can go to Jimenez and Robert of the White Sox. We can go to, starting way back with Singleton, going to some of the players who are in them now, who just end up disappearing, but you don't realize it, but they're being paid the major league rate in the minor leagues because they got guaranteed money. And why are teams doing this? Why do they feel the need? Because they want cost certainty in an era when revenue certainty is so uncertain. It doesn't make smart business sense. When you're in a market where you're worried about what is going to happen with expenses, with your money, the key is to have no fixed expenses. And this in your life is what you should do. Only have variable expenses that you can get out of. A fixed expense is something that no matter what happens in your life, you have to pay that money each month or each year. And
so mortgage, right?
A mortgage is a fixed expense, not variable. A variable expense is your entertainment money, or money if you take your vacation fund, or even if you put away money for different types of food. All of that can be variable.
So this is all about budgeting.
It's all about budgeting. And what baseball teams do is they want these expenses fixed so they know exactly what they will pay Campbell, because they view that as smarter than keeping it variable, where if he has a great year, you could have to pay him more. If he has a bad year, you'd be able to pay him less. Their view is, screw it, we're going to make it a fixed expense. My view always was, I disagree with that. I'm okay with variable because then I'm paying for performance.
Well, and then you're just getting rid of them by the time you need to pay them, right? Because that often seems to be the thing, right? When I'm talking about teams like the Pirates or the Marlins or whoever in the future, theoretically, this would be the way that a smaller market team could hold on to their stars in the long run. We just saw...
There's no discount, Jeremy.
Well, no, that's my question, right?
Yeah, there's no discount.
But so, for example, signing Sandy Alcantara when the Marlins did to the contract they did, which I believe was like 5 years, around $55 million. Mm-hmm. Are you saying that didn't save them any sort of money?
So it's a great question. How much time did he miss?
Well, he missed a year, and a pitcher is a different conversation, obviously.
He was paid as though he didn't miss a year. People are talking about this contract of how great it is. He's only at 17. Go look at what he would be in the system.
Sure, but the pitcher part of it, I guess, is a different conversation, because we end up having guys who miss full seasons in that respect at a far higher rate than what you see for position players. But there's Cal Raleigh. There's Jackson Churio signed one of these a couple years ago. The famous example is Ozzie Albies, who signed for way cheaper than anyone would have anticipated. And to me, I guess what I've always viewed this as is something that is team-friendly, that allows a player to guarantee themselves some money before they would hit the giant contract in their prime. Is that not the reality of how teams look at it?
When we get lucky. We got lucky with Yelich, had a team-friendly deal. And then teams feel badly when it's team-friendly, and then they give raises and increases and extensions to players because they feel like they took advantage. When players don't give you money back when they stink, when they're hurt, they keep the guaranteed money.
So how would you say you handled Giancarlo Stanton?
That's actually a different story. The Giancarlo Stanton story is that we were trying to change the narrative of you, the fans, in Miami.
Oh, it's our fault?
It was your fault, totally.
Oh, great.
Totally your fault. As a matter of fact, it was more Billy and Mike, but Roy, you were right in there.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, Billy, it was your fault.
I'm blamed for you trying to change the narrative you created?
Exactly. I would have been very happy to keep my narrative going.
You could have.
Yeah, but you made me crazy.
I did.
You were making me crazy year after year, saying, "Hey, are you congratulating him, Jessica?"
I did just say congrats.
Yeah, for real.
When the microphone was on, I
That's
couldn't hear
every
it, but I could
fan's
read
dream
you.
is to actually get under the skin of the ownership that they maybe don't support in their city. So congrats.
Billy did it. Congrats. I don't know if we have a noise that I could hit that's a congratulations noise. I don't know where it is. Let me just see. Isn't it more of a top 5 noise?
It's a congratulations noise as well.
But you didn't
dual purpose.
You didn't let me go unscathed though. You went and you told Donnie Tebow, "Hey, you're starting Ichiro that day. He's getting 3,000 in Colorado, come hell or high water."
We knew he would get that hit.
I've never been so upset about a hit in my life. I was so upset because it was almost a fly ball. It was almost an out at the wall. It just got over.
Almost a home run.
It was almost a home run, but it got just over the glove of the outfielder jumping. It ends up being a triple off the wall. But God, I've never been so upset by something good happening to my team, I think, except that.
Why? Why that visceral
Because I was going the next day because I bought one of those stupid plans that you guys were selling. It's like, oh, buy a flexible plan that you can do this and you can see it in here. We're just going to sell you 40 vouchers for, $400 or whatever.
Flexibility.
You can choose whatever games you want. Yeah, it was good flexibility, except I was going every day to see him get a hit, and then he wasn't getting a hit, and then I had to eat the stadium food, and God knows what it did to my health on top of the stress. That 3,000 hit stretch, David, you took probably 7 years off of my life that you're not going to give back to me.
But they're the worst 7. They're the diapers 7.
I mean, when those are the 7 you have left, you cherish those 7. I'm not going to have those 7 anymore.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life gets busy, and your mind carries it all. But just like your body needs care, so does your mental health. This is an investment in clarity, in peace, in you. Let's talk numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session, which adds up fast. With BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save an average of up to 50% per session. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and time. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With online therapy, you can get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. Having served over 5 million people globally, it's convenient too. You can join a session with the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life, plus switch therapists at any time. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/DLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/DLB.
Folks, it's Mike Ryan, and do you know that Miller Lite has basically been a partner of this show for almost 20 years? And as we celebrate 50 years of Miller Lite, that means for a large chunk of it, and look, I didn't go to school for math, but I'm pretty sure that's like 80% of the time that Miller Lite's been existing, they've been with our show. And I'm so grateful for it because we truly believe this. If you listen to us back in our radio days, throughout our times in national radio, to the Pirate Face, to now, you know that Miller Lite has been a huge supporter of ours. And I've always been a huge supporter of Miller Lite. Why? Because it's got taste you know you can depend on. A great beer, trusted by beer lovers for 50 years. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Hey friends, it's Jer Bear here, and I'm here to tell you all about Boost Mobile, which is now a legit nationwide 5G network. So I must take a break from the jokes here for a second and put on my serious voice, because I would never ever joke about a 5G network that has invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Not even once. Not even if Mr. Boost Mobile himself asked me to. There is nothing funny about it. Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store location to learn more. The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds, not available in all areas.
Dan Le Batard.
Go pee-pee.
Stugotz.
Go pee-pee.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Do you think Capitals fans are pissed off today? They
Probably.
were spending $1,500 a seat to go to the game.
That one's a little different just because he needed to score 3 goals in that game. The fact that he even got close was crazy, and he was in there at the end. I mean, he was holding himself
He
out.
did 2 and then 1. So he scored 2 in the first game and then 1 to break it.
Yeah, I'm saying, but for him to do it at home that day, he would have had to score 3
I'm
goals.
talking about the home game that's coming up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, no, he should have. I mean,
It's like the Ohtani 50-50. I could not believe that happened here.
Oh, I was so happy.
It was like one of the greatest single individual feats of athleticism I've ever seen on a field, and it happened here instead of in LA when they were going the next day, and he had already hit a home run to get within 50. They were up by like 10 runs. Dave Roberts easily could have pulled him out. I mean, I imagine, David, that would have frustrated you in a way. Would you fire if you were running the Dodgers? Would you have fired Dave Roberts for not pulling Ohtani in that game? Would you have fired him?
They talked about it first. So the answer is no. If he went against what our plan was, then I would fire him.
If it would have been, hey, if he gets there, take him out,
well,
and then he left
would have
him
had
in
that
anyway.
planned.
Okay.
Right. We would have had that plan before the game. Hey, listen, there's a chance. Just with Ovechkin, he could get 1 goal away and they could stop putting him shifts. He's only playing like 18 minutes a game anyway, but you could just leave him and let him play at home this week. But they made the decision. It's not like Ovechkin didn't know that he was going to play against the Islanders. Ohtani knew he was getting every at-bat. Ichiro had asked to be in that game Sunday. And by the way, he started that game.
Oh, I know. I'm well aware, David. Wasn't 1 at-bat, a pinch hit, which is all he was doing at home. He got a full 4 at-bats in that game.
Yes, he did.
I'm well aware of what happened.
I had to fly out to Denver.
Oh.
I had no intention of being in Denver. And we flew there because, hey, he was 1 hit away. We're going to start him. He's going to get it in Denver.
I looked into it. Wasn't at that point in my life. Just pick up and fly to Denver on a day's notice.
You could have called.
And said what?
Hey, do you want to fly me to Denver? You guys seem happy to ask for flights now.
Oh, no, I'm very unbiased, down the middle. I'm not taking handouts. If anyone wants to send me anything, though, I'm not going to say no. It's just rude. Come on, get out of here.
I don't want you to be rude.
I don't want to be rude either.
I think it's important to say yes to things like that.
I do.
Not because you're pressured because of work, because you want to go to Denver.
You know what I was thinking? We should invite the Clementas to your bowling tournament.
They would do it if
But
we
at what
played
cost?
21 games.
Oh.
And did it in Pittsburgh.
How about 21 hours instead of 24?
Wouldn't we want to do it with a player who has Parkinson's?
Well, no,
Wow,
like with
no,
the actual player.
Well, no, like a
Don't
Kirk,
make them
like,
bowl. It's
no, but Kirk
rude.
Gibson. Like, doesn't he have a number that we would associate and do it instead of tying it to Clemente? Why
No,
wouldn't we
no.
tie it to someone with Parkinson's?
A number?
Well, we did 21 hours for Roberto Clemente, 21. Maybe Kirk Gibson, what we could do, what
23 hours?
Didn't he wear 23 with the Dodgers?
Yeah,
when
so
he hit the
23
home run?
hours. And now we're going out to LA to do this?
He hit the homer in 88. You could do 88 hours.
It's too long. We called the bowling alley trying to figure out what they would charge us. And we said, hey, it's charity, just charge us for the cost of incremental electricity and to have 2 people staffed. Because you need a tech guy always, because it always breaks down. And then you need someone behind the bar. That's all we needed.
Ohtani doubled to right in the first inning of that game.
Off the top of the wall.
Then singled to right in the top of the second.
Yeah.
Then doubled to center, and then was thrown out, stretching it to third in the 3rd inning. That was when we all went, oh no, all right, this
He
is
was trying for a cycle.
He was trying to go for the cycle, and we were all like, oh man, he didn't get the triple. There's no way they're gonna pull him after this. Then he came up again in the top of the 6th. Surely they're up 7-3 at this point, and he homers to right center. Now it's 9-3, and surely, I mean, obviously Ohtani's going to get pulled. Nope. He hits again in the top of the 7th, homers again. Now it's 14-3. That's home run number 50. But don't worry, he's going to come up again in the top of the 9th, and he homers again, and that's home run 51. So he hit 3 home runs in that game. I think it was, 3 home runs, 2 doubles, thrown out at third. It could have been the cycle. I think there were 10 ribbies in there. God, what a moment.
They're calling it actually the greatest offensive game in baseball history.
What's crazy is that that's the greatest offensive game we've ever seen, and he has another game with a higher WAR accumulated in that game because he started and threw, I think, 5 shutout innings with 12 strikeouts or something like that.
What was Tatis's WAR for hitting 2 grand slams in 1 inning? Do you get a WAR for that? That's another record. Don't we have a top 5 list of records that can't be broken? Do I have that anywhere? Can we do it right now? I want to do it right now. Top 5 records that will never be broken. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do I have it written anywhere?
No.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Ready?
Yeah?
I have 2 OLIs. Ready?
Yeah?
UConn women's basketball 111-game winning streak.
That's an OLI.
That'll never get broken. That's an OLI. 2, another OLI. Wayne Gretzky, 1,963 assists.
He has more assists than any other player has points in their career.
It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Why is that outside looking in?
Because wait till you see number 5.
Okay.
Boston Celtics, 8 straight titles. Tell me in any sport other than wrestling and track and field where there's a chance for 8 straight titles. I have to amend the whole thing. It's totally breakable. There's a guy currently doing it, Billy. Is it an active streak for that track and field dude?
The one with 40, the pictures were in black and white, so I assume no. I'll get back to you on the other one.
I need to change the top 5. Okay. Number 4, Cy Young with 316 losses as a starting pitcher. There is no one who will ever break that record. You just won't get the chance. Good luck. Number 3, Cy Young with 511 wins. Nobody.
Who's the Lenny
active
Wilkins
leader?
of pitchers.
He did it all. Who's the active leader in wins right now? Kershaw? Verlander. Verlander with 270, 280, 310.
Verlander at 262.
That's the active leader. Verlander's not going to win 38 more games. He's hanging on by a thread. He's old. There's no more 300-game winners. Forget 511. But that's not even number 1. We're not even up to that. Number 2. Ready?
Yeah?
Will Chamberlain, 100 points in a game. Who's going to do that? Kobe came close.
I think that's the most possible of any of the ones you've named thus far. Just given where scoring is right now, that there could be one night where it ends up being a guy, whether it's like a Devin Booker or someone late in the season playing in an uncompetitive game that hits like 15 or 16 threes.
That gets you 48.
Right, but along with getting to the foul line and things. I think
that gives you 68.
I think that's more possible than anything you've named. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's the most possible of anything you've named thus far.
I could have gone with the Will Chamberlain average points per game for a season over 50.
Like I think there's a chance
that one is never going to happen.
I think there's a chance that you never see another pitcher get to half of Cy Young's wins. Right? 511 career wins.
Verlander's there.
Right, but another
Verlander.
like after Verlander, there's a chance you never see another pitcher get to half of the all-time leader's wins. That's how much the game has changed there. So maybe, I'm just saying, maybe someone can get to 100.
Number 1. This is it. The most unbreakable record in the history of sports. Cal Ripken consecutive games played, 2,632. The dude did not miss a game from May 30th, 1982 to September 20th, 1998. I'd like you all to just marinate with that for 1 second. 1982 to 1998.
You showed up to work.
I looked up who the active MLB player was with the most consecutive games played.
Current streak.
Do you
Can
know
I
who
guess?
It is? Yeah.
It used to be Paul Goldschmidt, but I think he sat, and the number was like 300. I'm going to say the number's under 320.
Not according to Wikipedia. Oh. There's an active player with 627 consecutive games played.
Wow. Who?
Matt Olson.
Wow.
Matt Olson of the Braves. He did play 162 last year, but that means he's been doing it for 5 years or so.
It says May 2nd, 2021 was the start.
That's pretty good. But guess how much? Now do the math for what he has to do. So he's about 2,000 games short.
Right.
So he's got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
He's got to do it for about 15 more years.
I was going to say like a couple decades, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because what? It was a 16-year streak for Cal Ripken Jr.
98.
And this is, he played 156 games in 2021, so that was when it started, was a few games into 2021. And now just 3 straight seasons after that of 162. So he's still got basically a decade of that to go, which is insane.
How old is Matt Olson? Does he have a 3 handle
31,
yet?
he's got no shot.
So that's it.
Yeah, no shot.
It's done. That's a great stat of the day, though. I wouldn't have had Matt Olson as that. Because I know that he and a bunch of Braves played 162. Freddie Freeman used to play 162 when he was with the Braves, but then he fell in the shower. Freddie Freeman goes to not the top, but he's sort of near the top of crazy injuries. Did you see what happened to him, that he slipped in the shower?
Who was it that stepped in like a pothole in their backyard?
Well, Cespedes,
that's
remember?
what I was
and
thinking
Tatis hurt himself doing a weird thing. We had players who pretended they hurt themselves doing. I'm not buying the whole that. There's a current player right now. He says he was opening gifts with his child, and the cardboard got between his nail and the skin.
Hate when that happens.
Cardboard cut. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
What?
Terrible.
And now he's injured.
Poor guy.
I'm not buying it.
But what would that injury have been otherwise? It just feels so specific.
That's what we always say. We have to be super specific. Like I tripped carrying my suitcase upstairs. That sounds specific, but it's horse hockey.
Freeman played 162 twice, but has played 159, 159, 161 the 3 previous years before last year where he played 147.
That's still a very good streak. But
Also
he's
158 and 157 somewhere in there. It's crazy.
He's not young either. He's got a 3 handle.
Oh, he's 35.
Yeah. So people don't realize the Cal Ripken streak, the reason why it's so impressive, A, people generally don't go to work every day, which they should, and B, he didn't get hurt. So just think about what he does for a living. He played through injuries, played through paper cuts, played through shower mishaps for 16 years.
In 16 years, he had like 8 more batting stances than missed games.
It's also the subject of a conspiracy theory because of how absurd it is.
Well, you're talking about when there was a rainout?
Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
Is that the Kevin Costner story?
Correct, yes. It was a blackout, right, at the Orioles Stadium? Electrical failure?
It was a very specific area for the blackout.
Right.
And, of course, the theory that you're proffering is that it had nothing to do with injury, though, other than to the psyche.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy theory that I think has been debunked several times.
The psyche.
I don't know how you debunk an affair like that.
I mean, it seems like if it's that outlandish, there should be evidence that it actually happened. Like, you don't need evidence that it didn't happen. There needs to be like some sort of proof that it did happen, and there isn't any. So
you don't mean the
made
affair.
Up.
You mean the physical altercation that would have led him to miss the
like
game.
The whole entire thing, and then that led to like someone pulling the plug on like the power at the stadium. Like, that's an absurd sequence of events.
I love it. I happen to love this one because within the world of baseball, there is a feeling that that one is true.
So for those who are not familiar with this theory,
I thought everyone knew about this. Is this like not? Is this like a?
This transcends generations.
No, I've heard it.
there could be
I've heard it, but
non-baseball
I did
fans
not
out there
remember the
listening
details.
that don't know this conspiracy theory.
Oh, okay.
Tell them the story.
I mean, if I know it, I thought other people would know it. It's just a conspiracy theory that Cal Ripken caught his wife, I guess, allegedly cheating on him with Kevin Costner, and they got in a fight. He couldn't play, so they delayed the game that they were supposed to play that night by, I guess, someone pulling the plug. And again, this is complete, like, I'm not trying to defame Cal Ripken Jr. I've already said several times it seems like it's ridiculous, but
or Mrs. Ripken Jr.
Yeah, anyone, or Kevin Costner.
Or Kevin Costner.
Who is probably the most litigious of the three, but...
You don't mean litigious. You mean the most strain? A-Y-I-N-G, not A-I-N? What is there's no litigation involved. It was just a good old-fashioned brawl.
No, I mean, he probably would be the most likely to sue someone
for
about
telling the story.
Yeah.
I think we're covered because he's a public figure. I think you're good. Don't you worry.
Well, you're a lawyer, so I guess you would know, right?
I like your chances on this one, Jessica. Do not panic. You can tell the story. You can tell it loudly.
Yeah. I already said it.
Yeah, and you don't even have to do all the qualifying you did.
Okay, but I like to cover my bases. I don't know if we have any like Meadowlark, indemnification clauses that we have to sign. What happens if one of us gets sued, David? Is Meadowlark going to cover it?
So we have insurance for that if it's done in the ordinary course of your job. Now, if you do something off air, off hours, off campus, you're sort of on your own.
So we never have to hit the reckless speculation sounder. We can just say
I
whatever
never
we
understood
want.
why you do that. Is that because you
Well,
want
we did
to
it
be
at
journalists?
ESPN. We did it at ESPN.
Just because you want people to think that you're journalists?
All right.
Sure.
I think Dan wants that.
Next hour, everyone come up with the wildest thing you want to say on air, and we'll all share it together. What do you
I think that it should be not only wild, but one that under all circumstances would lead to litigation. I just want to go right to the edge because Dan's not here. We can do anything we want. Let's go right to the edge and just see what happens.
Dan's always here.
You're talking about the
I know,
player
I'm getting
that
texts.
hurt himself allegedly. Sorry, with
fine.
the cardboard under the thumb. Yeah, we lost that sponsor, so it's fine. So, what is the best lie that you have ever gotten away with? That you're proudest of?
No, I was not in Vegas.
Oh.
It's a good one. It's happened a few times. When the team is on the West Coast, go to Vegas in between games and say, no, I wasn't there. Don't be ridiculous. And you just don't call in front of the slot machines.
Hey audience, it's that time of year where everyone is debating who the number one pick is going to be. Well, let me tell you something that is undebatable. Who the world's number one vodka is. That is Smirnoff, and as fun as it is to debate whether or not the team with the number one pick goes pass rusher, wide receiver, quarterback, one thing that we all know is we're going with Smirnoff as our number one vodka pick. Isn't that right, Dano?
Smirnoff rules!
Smirnoff rules! So while you're over there hosting your draft parties, one thing in particular you need. Well, there's two things that you absolutely need. The draft on TV, that's a must. But number two, what is it, Dano?
Smirnoff!
Do you like Dano?
Support the people who support us. Smirnoff supports us. I like Smirnoff. I don't like Dano.
And thanks to Smirnoff, God Bless Football is doing their first ever watch-along live stream in front of a live audience in Nashville, Tennessee. Join God Bless Football during round 1 of the draft on the Le Batard Show YouTube channel on April 24th. More details to come. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Woohoo!
Folks, it's Mike Ryan, and do you know that Miller Lite has basically been a partner of this show for almost 20 years? And as we celebrate 50 years of Miller Lite, that means for a large chunk of it, and look, I didn't go to school for math, but I'm pretty sure that's like 80% of the time that Miller Lite's been existing. They've been with our show. And I'm so grateful for it because we truly believe this. If you listen to us back in our radio days, throughout our times in national radio, to the Pirate Face, to now, you know that Miller Lite has been a huge supporter of ours. And I've always been a huge supporter of Miller Lite. Why? Because it's got taste you can depend on. A great beer, trusted by beer lovers for 50 years. Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.